Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto and Kaguya were actually a husband and wife part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Sitting high above the village of Konoha, on top of the stone head of the 4th Hokage, is a young boy that appeared to be 16 years old. The boy stood at 5 feet 10 with tanned skin, waist-length spiky white hair, deep violet eyes, and a vertical line in the middle of his forehead. For clothes he wears black shinobi sandals, black cargo pants, a tight white kimono top with baggy sleeves that had tomo around the cuffs and on the collar, and around his waist was his Konoha headband acting as a belt. This boy's name is Naruto Uzumaki, or at least that's the name he uses. His real name Naruto Otsutsuki, the demonic god, husband of Kaguya Otsutsuki, father of the Biju, the sage of 6 paths, and many other children that will be named later. Naruto is supposedly the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, but the truth is he's a being as old as time itself. Flashback. Naruto is actually the 10-tailed beast and he has roamed these lands from before humans popped up. For a long time Naruto ruled the lands like a god and all was well, then humans showed up and for a while they worshipped him, but then they began to fear his power and thus feared him. Some brave idiots tried to claim his power for their own only to end up being erased from existence. After a while of this Naruto warned the humans to leave him be or he would erase them all. The humans did as he asked and left him alone, but then they started warring with each other. Naruto didn't want any part of their wars, so he just traveled the land looking for a nice place to rest. It was during his travels that Naruto came across Kaguya, who just so happened to be an alien princess. It wasn't too long before the two fell in love and Naruto willingly shared his power with her. Naruto then took a human form and married Kaguya as she became the mother of chakra while he was the father, and later they had 2 sons who inherited their chakra. As the 2 boys grew, Kaguya gave them love and nourishment while Naruto gave them discipline and trained them in the control of their chakra. The only problem in their lives was Kaguya's want to bring peace to the lands. Naruto already knew that Kaguya could bring peace, but it wouldn't last as the humans seemed to always find ways to fight over the smallest and stupidest things. Naruto allowed Kaguya to do as she pleased with his full support since he was a good husband, and just like he thought, Kaguya brought peace. Though also like he thought, Kaguya's peace didn't last, as just like with him the people began to fear Kaguya and sought to dethrone her. Naruto of course didn't take the attacks on his wife well, and because of this he returned to his true form, a huge white 10-tailed wolf with forward-facing horns, think Ichigo's horns when he goes full hollow, and his tails actually being Hydra heads, and destroyed the armies that the humans sent to attack his wife. Naruto's return only sparked more fear into the people as they wondered what they had done to make the creature angry. Naruto revealed that Kaguya was his wife and that he would destroy all who threatened her. Hearing this only made Kaguya's love for Naruto grow, as she knew he preferred to leave humans to do their own thing while he lived in peace with his family. The only reason Naruto would deal with humans was if they interrupted his peace. Kaguya's love grew so much that she bore Naruto 9 more children. While her first 2 sons took after her more than Naruto, these 9 new ones took after Naruto's true form. Naruto's sons, on the other hand, Hagoromo and Hamura, thought that their parents were power crazy and felt that they knew of a way for things to be better. Naruto's cave. Hagoromo and Hamura walked into their father's cave with the intentions of confronting him on his and their mother's actions. While they loved their parents dearly, they were becoming tyrants, and the twins felt that it was time for all of the bloodshed to stop. They soon came across their father in his true form resting in the middle of the large cave. No matter how many times they saw their father's true form, they just couldn't believe the sheer size and power that radiated from their father. When they got close to their father, his eyes shot open and they stared into cold grayish-purple eyes with 6 rings around a slit pupils. "So, my children have finally come to seal me," said Naruto, much to their surprise. "How did you know, father?" asked Hagoromo. Because I raised you two brats, I know how you think, said Naruto before he slowly stood up. It was amazing to Naruto that he was able to find a cave to fit his great stature. Naruto turned from his two children and walked further into the cave. This had confused his children as they followed him, but once they reached the back of the cave they were shocked beyond belief. Laying in the semicircle were 9 curled-up creatures of different species sleeping. Hagoromo and Hamura noticed that they all had a different number of tails going from 1 to 9. Farther, what are they? Asked Hamura. They are a part of me, said Naruto as he looked at his sleeping children. Naruto knew full well that they weren't really sleeping, because since when did children go to sleep when their parents told them to? Most likely they were up and playing together before they heard him walking towards them and decided to act like they were sleeping. Hagoromo narrowed his eyes at the Biju as he took his father's words the wrong way. He believed that his father had made them from his power and was going to use them as another defense for his mother. They look like children, maybe they can be put on a better path. Hagoromo thought to himself. Hamura's eyes widened at this as he knew what their father meant, as he had often told them that they were a part of him. Hamura instantly knew that these 9 creatures were his and Hagoromo's younger siblings. If you are truly going to seal me away, then go ahead, I won't stop you, said Naruto, greatly confusing his children. Noticing their confusion, Naruto continued. I taught the two of you many things over the years. I've taught you to be strong in both mind and body, to never judge another until you know them, to control the power that you inherited from your mother and most importantly, I taught you the value of family. I must say that I'm disappointed that of all the lessons it's the last one that you choose to forsake, but I'm also proud that you are showing your determination to follow your own path and not the path others have chosen for you, said Naruto. But Hagoromo and Hamura noticed that he hadn't looked at them as he said it. Why are you taking this so well, father? Asked Hagoromo. Because despite the fact you plan to seal your mother and myself away, you two are my sons and I love you, so I can't bear the thought of killing you. Sure, in my human form I'd be able to disable you without fatal injury, but in my true form even the smallest fraction of my power would be enough to kill you. Plus every child gets to the age where they think they know better than their parents. It just took you two longer than I thought it would, said Naruto with amusement clear in his voice at the end. Humans have changed from what you once knew, father, said Hagoromo. Ha 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 ha. My son, I have watched these humans since the day they crawled out of their caves and started to roam my lands. I've known of them before they knew of themselves, and while they might have changed some since their birth, their very nature has not changed. They are greedy yet fearful creatures that wish to control what they don't understand, and what they don't understand and can't control they fear and try to destroy. I have found few that are not like this and have even called them my friend. When they died I watched over their children and then their children and so on and so on. Do you know what I learned from this? Asked Naruto. What did you learn, father? Asked an interested Hamura. I learned that bonds can last forever as long as the feeling of friendship and love are shared between both parties. I also learned that humans are a jealous race, as those I didn't not consider my friends sought to harm those I did, said Naruto. You played favorites, father. What did you expect? Asked Hagoromo. I expected them to respect their god, roared Naruto as he finally turned to face his first 2 sons. Naruto knew his 9 little ones were trying their hardest to appear to still be sleeping, but he also knew they were paying close attention to what he was saying. What he was saying would be a lesson for his children. I ruled them as their god and they praised me for my generosity and kindness. They would come to me with a problem and I would either solve it for them or tell them to do it themselves. They came to fear my power and sought to bring me to their feet, to make me into their pet. I killed them for this, but only the ones that came to attack me, said Naruto. Maybe if you just proved to them, Hagoromo tried to argue before he was cut off. Foolish child. No god needs to prove themselves. Any being trying to prove themselves a god is either crazy or lying, said Naruto before taking a breath to calm down. Look, you two, I can admit that my rule wasn't perfect, I didn't love every damn human I came across and preferred that they leave me in peace. I was too detached while your mother loves them too much, said Naruto. Too much? She's killing them by the hundreds, argued Hagoromo. Your mother loves the humans so much that she is willing to kill hundreds to save thousands. She will force humans to stop their wars by killing the ones that don't stop fighting, and you should be glad for this because I had to talk her out of putting the whole damn world into an eternal illusion, said Naruto. She was going to what? Asked Hamura. Father, why don't you help us? Asked Hagoromo, but Naruto seemed to ignore his question. Boys, I was too soft in my rule and your mother is too harsh. Maybe you'll find the right balance between how I do things and how your mother does things. Go ahead and do the sealing, but be ready to accept the consequences of your actions. The world is yours now, my children, do with it as you please, said Naruto, though only Hamura saw that Naruto was talking to the Biju while Hagoromo thought Naruto was talking to them. A few minutes later, Hagoromo and Hamura had finished sealing Naruto and were walking out of the cave as they decided to leave the Biju for later. This isn't right, Hagoromo, said Hamura. What are you talking about, Hamura? Asked Hagoromo. This doesn't feel anything like you said it would. You said that father would fight us so that he wouldn't be sealed, you said he would try to convince us to join him and mother, and you said he would berate us and disown us as his children. Father did nothing that you said he would, and now I feel great sadness inside of me after betraying my father, the man that loved us unconditionally for years and taught us everything we know while allowing us to form our own opinions on things rather than forcing us to think like him. I feel hollow inside, Hagoromo, said Hamura. I feel the same, Hamura. Father did not act at all how I believed he would, but we've come too far to turn back now, said Hagoromo. Hamura knew this to be true, and so he continued to follow his brother. But in the back of his mind he couldn't help but wonder what their younger siblings would think of them after this. He and Hagoromo were taking away their father and mother after all. Back in the cave, what the brothers didn't know was that as soon as they left the area, Naruto unsealed himself and stood before his still pretending children. My foolish sons, you really believed you had the power to seal me. Chakra comes from me, it is an extension of my power, and you are not strong enough to harm me with it. Naruto said to himself. Alright, you lot, stop pretending to be asleep and talk with your father, said Naruto as the Biju finally stopped pretending. What do you want us to do, father? Asked the small orange nine-tailed fox. He was the oldest of his siblings and therefore the de facto leader. I want you all to live your lives. What you do from this point on is completely up to you, but no matter what you decide, your mother and I will always love you, said Naruto. Why are you talking as if we'll never see you again? Asked the fox. The others looked at their father nervously as they felt really scared at losing their father. Because Kurama, it will be a long time before you see me or your mother again. Your older siblings believe in their ideals so much that they are willing to seal their parents away. I will not stand in their way, so once they seal your mother I will remove her from it and we will go to the realm of the gods and watch the world from there. Here Naruto paused and saw the sad expressions on his children's faces. Do not feel sad, my children, just for you, once I free your mother we'll return here and spend as much time as we can with you before your brothers no doubt return. Also before we leave I will set up a mental link between us so that you may talk to me or your mother anytime you wish, said Naruto. He then smiled as much as a large wolf could because he saw that this made them at least a little bit happier. Very well, father, said Kurama. Good. Now come, children, it is time for you to sleep. And I'm staying this time to make sure you sleep, said Naruto as he narrowed his eyes at his sheepish-looking children at the end. He then used his tails to pick them up and lay them in the center of the cave as he wrapped himself around them. Not a second after closing his eyes did he open them again, thanks to feeling something pawing at his nose. In front of his nose he saw a small ball of blue and black fire in the shape of a cat with 2 tails, a small white dolphin horse with 5 tails, and a small white slug with 6 tails, all looking at him. Matabi, Kokuo, and Seiken, Didn't I just say that it is time for you to sleep? Said Naruto. I know daddy, but I just want to get this out before bedtime. Daddy, will you mate with me when I'm older? Asked Matabi. She was then suddenly pushed aside by her older sister Kokuo, who glared at her. Matabi, how dare ask such a question of father, have you no shame? Beside, it is obvious that as his most proper daughter, father will be courting me once I am of age, said Kokuo. Oh please Kokuo, you're not proper, you just have a stick shoved so far up your ass that you can't relax, said Matabi. How dare you, said Kokuo as the two of them started to butt heads. While they were fighting, Saiken took this as her chance to move closer to her father and started to rub her body against Naruto's nose. Ah papa, I would find it most enjoyable, if maybe, you would consider, mating with me when I'm older, but only if that's okay with you, said Saiken in her soft and shy voice. Naruto couldn't help but grin at 3 of his 4 daughters. He didn't know how the 3 of them developed a father complex, but he didn't mind, and neither did Kaguya, as she expected him to have multiple mates, plus since he was a god they didn't to worry any problems that might come from incest. Though Naruto did sigh at the fact that his children were only 5, yet they acted like teenagers. Enough you 3, we'll talk about this some other time, but for now it's time to sleep, said Naruto. Saiken nodded and climbed on top of his nose and went to sleep. Matabi and Kokuo stopped fighting and did as their father said, with Matabi climbing onto the top of his head and Kokuo climbed onto his back. Their brother and oldest sister were sleeping curled up in his tails. It took a whole week before Naruto felt that his wife was sealed away and quickly went and unsealed her, without Hagoromo and Hamura knowing, and brought her back to the cave to spend time with their children. For 3 weeks Naruto and Kaguya stayed with their children and showered them with love before they felt Hagoromo approaching the cave. Like Naruto had told them, he set up a mental link between them so that they could talk whenever they wanted to. Naruto also told Kurama that since he was the oldest that he was in charge of his siblings and that it was his job to take care of them until he returned. With that out of the way, Kaguya and Naruto said goodbye to their children and left for the realm of the gods. Over the millennia, Naruto watched as his son Hagoromo gave humans chakra while Hamura watched over Kaguya's empty prison. Naruto became pissed though when Hagoromo sealed the Biju into himself and tried to teach them his way of doing things while claiming to be their father. The Biju didn't like this either, but they played along so that Hagoromo wouldn't try to seal them away permanently like he tried with their parents. For millennia the parents watched as humans began to abuse the power they were given, as their children were hunted like wild animals, used as weapons in wars, and finally they watched as humans rewrote history in their own way. They said that Naruto was a tree that bore fruit and made Kaguya into a power-mad human that only gained her power from eating his forbidden fruit. That last part usually made Naruto giggle a bit as he remembered that many times he had tasted her forbidden fruit. Later though, Naruto finally decided to return to the world with Kaguya, but Naruto decided to be reborn, so to speak, by injecting himself into Kushina Uzumaki while she was pregnant. Because of that she had triplets instead of twins, and though Naruto was technically a baby he could still change his physical self to be any age he wanted. Before this though, Naruto had quite a good time in the realm of the gods as he had become the mate of the goddesses Kami, Yami, Jashin, and Amaterasu and had children with each of them. Not to mention he would temporarily return to the human world from time to time in order to feel nature of his lands around him once again, and there were 1 or 2 human women that caught his attention that he mated with. And while doing this he found that there were still people loyal to him and his wife, so he gave them a way to stay connected to them. Flashback end. So much has happened since my time in this world. So much has changed and yet so much has stayed the same. Naruto thought to himself. He stood up when he felt a presence behind him and turned to find his first wife Kaguya standing there. She looked just as beautiful as always, with her pale skin, pale pupilless eyes, small eyebrows, a vertical slit in the middle of her forehead just like his, long flowing white hair that actually dragged along the ground, supple lips covered in red lipstick, and brown horns that stuck up from the top of her head and looked like rabbit ears. For clothes she wore a high-collared hime kimono with tomo running down the center and edges of the gown, and it was also adorned with intricate gold and purple lines. Her kimono hid her body completely, but Naruto knew that under it was an hourglass figure with GG cup breasts, a flat stomach, wide hips, thick thighs, long legs, and a fat round ass. "Hello my dear husband, how are you this night?" asked Kaguya. "I'm fine my dear. Our daughter and I graduated from the academy today, though it wasn't really that hard," said Naruto. "Please dear, from what you've told me that academy prepares you for nothing besides those stupid D-rank missions we've heard about. And speaking of our daughter, they wish to speak with us tonight, in person," said Kaguya. "Very well, have them meet us at the house and I'll be there shortly. There is a little problem that needs to be taken care of," said Naruto. Kaguya nodded and gave him a quick kiss before disappearing into a portal she created. Naruto then took off in a burst of speed into the forest just outside of Konoha's walls. In the forest, we see a man with white hair in the standard Konoha Chunin uniform and two Fuma shuriken on his back jumping from tree to tree with a large scroll in his hands. This Chunin's name is Mizuki and he just stole the forbidden scroll of seals from the Hokage Tower. He was trying to reach the border when he had to stop when he found someone in front of him. "Hey Mizuki-sensei, what are you doing out here?" asked Naruto. Mizuki glared at Naruto as not many people in the village liked Naruto or his sister and mother, Mito and Kushina. You see, when Kushina gave birth, some crazy bastard came and ripped the Kyuubi out of her and forced to attack the village. Minato was able to split the Kyuubi's chakra from its soul and body and seal it into his firstborn son Menma while sealing the body and soul into Mito using the Reaper Death Seal Jutsu against Kushina's wishes. Minato expected the Shinigami to take his soul after that, but the god didn't and simply told that a worse fate awaited him for what he had done. After that, Minato told the village what he had done but left out the man that had attacked and escaped as he didn't want them to panic about it. This caused the people to see Menma as a hero, but they saw Mito as a monster, resulting in them treating Menma like a prince while they tried to treat Mito like trash. Tried being the key word because Naruto and Kushina wouldn't let them, thus causing them to be hated right along with Mito. Kushina told Minato what was happening, but he didn't believe her as he felt the villagers wouldn't do something like that. This caused Kushina to leave Minato while taking Mito and Naruto with her. She tried to take Menma too, but he sided with Minato. Kushina had a deep belief in family overall, but Minato showed her that he would put the village over his family. Anyway, back to right now. What are you doing out here, Naruto? Asked an angry Mizuki. It was bad enough he was forced to pass the demon lover and his demon sister, but now he was standing in the way of his escape. I asked my question first, said Naruto with a straight face. If you must know, I'm on my way to a mission, said Mizuki, coming up with a quick lie. Okay traitor, I don't have time for this, said Naruto as he disappeared in a burst of speed and reappeared in front of Mizuki with his fist embedded in Mizuki's stomach. Mizuki threw up everything he had eaten during the day and fell to his knees. He could feel that some of his internal organs had ruptured as he struggled to breathe. That should keep you still until Anbu get here to take you in, and if they hurry you may actually live through this night, said Naruto. It only took a couple of minutes before Anbu showed up and Naruto explained what had happened. All but one were skeptical that a new genin would be able to stop a Chunin, but they remembered who his mother was and her reputation. They took the forbidden scroll and Mizuki and left, but one cat-masked Anbu stayed behind. They just stared at each other for a few moments before held his arms out to her with a small smile on his face. The cat-masked Anbu quickly ran into Naruto's arms and hugged him tightly as Naruto returned the hug. Papa, whispered the Anbu. Hello my darling daughter. Won't you remove that mask and show Papa your face? Asked Naruto. The Anbu moved back and took off her mask, showing a beautiful face with soft fair skin, brown eyes, and long purple hair. This is Yugao Otsutsuki, or Yugao Azuki is her cover name, Anbu captain of Konoha, and the daughter of Naruto Otsutsuki and Yami. How are you doing, dear? Is that Hayate boy treating you well? Asked Naruto, concerned for his daughter. While he had many daughters and few sons, Naruto treated all of his children well, as they were all special to him. Whether they were minor gods like Yugao here or demigods like his children in Suna didn't matter to him. They were all precious gifts given to him by his mates. I'm fine, Papa, and yes, Hayate is treating me well. You don't need to worry so much about me. I'm a grown woman, said Yugao, though it did make her feel warm on the inside that her papa cared so much about her. To these humans you may be a grown woman, but to someone as old as me you'll always be that little girl in the purple sundress begging Papa to teach her about swords or to buy her a sword, said Naruto with a smile. Yugao smiled as she remembered her younger days when she spent so much time with her family before she was allowed to venture out on her own and choose her own path in life. Sure, since she was an Anbu captain she was loyal to her village, but her loyalties to her father, mothers, and siblings were much more important to her. Ha ha ha, did you just call yourself an old man, Papa? Asked Yugao with a laugh. An old man I may be, but I'm the youngest looking old man you'll ever meet. Now don't you have work to do? Said Naruto, though his eyebrow did twitch at the fact he called himself old. Oh right, I better go before they come back. I'll see you later, Papa, said Yugao as she hugged her father one more time. Before you go, make sure you contact your mother. She may the goddess of hell, but she still worries about you and your siblings, said Naruto. I will. Bye, Papa, said Yugao as she disappeared into the trees. Naruto smiled after his daughter before he disappeared in a burst of speed and reappeared in the middle of the forbidden area of the Forest of Death. A couple of yards in front of him was a massive tree with a large treehouse built into its branches. Walking up the tree until he reached the front of the house, Naruto opened the door and found Kaguya drinking tea with two young girls. The first seemed to be the same age as Naruto's body, with fair skin, pale lavender eyes, and long dark blue hair. The second seemed to be a few years younger, with fair skin, pale white eyes, and long brown hair. These girls were Hinata and Hanabi Otsutsuki, or Hyuga as their cover names, daughters of Naruto and Kaguya Otsutsuki. Their births were very complicated and will be explained later. Hi father, daddy, said Hinata and Hanabi respectively. Hello my sweet angels, your mother said you wish to speak to me, said Naruto as he sat down beside Kaguya. Yes father, but WWE really just wanted to get out of Hyuga compound, said Hinata. Hinata was a huge daddy's girl. While she didn't have a father complex like some of her sisters, she did become nervous for her father's approval when he was around, even though she knew she always had his approval. When he wasn't around she acted much like Kaguya, well, a kinder version of Kaguya to the branch Hyuga. Yeah, plus that dick Hiashi was being a real pain in the ass again, said Hanabi. Hanabi was a daddy's girl just like Hinata, with the difference being that she became cheerful and outspoken when he was around rather than shy and timid. She also tended to act like Kaguya most of the time. Oh, and get this, he tried to marry her off to some 40-year-old rich noble from grass country, said Hanabi. This information made both Kaguya and Naruto stiffen and started to release an oppressive aura. Now they didn't mind if their children wanted to get married, but they would be damned if anyone forced them to. And now Hanabi, it wasn't that bad, Hinata said softly. Wasn't that bad? He tried to grope you, yelled Hanabi. He did what? Yelled Naruto and Kaguya at the same time. Let it be known that nothing was as terrifying as Naruto and Kaguya in protective father-mother mode. At that moment all around the world protective parents everywhere felt the parental rage flowing off of Naruto and Kaguya. As one they all smiled wickedly, scaring whoever they were around at the time, before praying for damnation upon the one who was foolish enough to harm the child of a protective parent. They all for some reason felt that their prayers would be answered. Oh how right they were. Street stopped him before he could, said Hinata. This only slightly calmed her parents, some human had tried to touch their daughter against her will. Oh, there was going to be great consequences for this. Kaguya, inform Yami of the situation and make sure to inform her to take extra special care of this one, said Naruto in a deadly calm voice. Kaguya simply nodded before she disappeared into a portal. Hinata and Hanabi shivered at the mention of Yami, while they loved their mother Yami and she was always kind and loving to them. They also knew that she could be a sadistic monster to those she was charged with torturing. In Grass Country, we find a noble grumbling to himself with all of the bones in his right arm shattered from where Hinata hit him. That stupid bitch, she should have been honored that I wanted to touch her large breasts. I know, I'll have her breasts cut off and hanged on my wall as a warning for any other bitch that thinks they can defy me, the noble said to himself. Suddenly his escort stopped, wondering what the hold-up was. He peeked and saw that every man that was escorting him was dead. Standing in the middle of the road was a beautiful woman with pale skin, bright red eyes, long obsidian black hair, an hourglass figure, long legs, wide hips, a firm ass, and large G-cup breasts. She wore a very revealing black thigh-length silk kimono and no type of footwear. This is the goddess Yami and she is not happy. So you're the fool who thought he could disrespect my daughter and get away with it, we'll have to fix that, said Yami with a sadistic smirk. The noble blinked and she was gone, which freaked him out. He blinked again and now she was holding him up by his neck. Let's go back to my place, I have lots of games we can play, said Yami as they began to sink into a flaming pit. She eased her grip enough for the noble to let out one last scream before the only ones that would hear him scream would be the damned souls of hell. Screamed the noble before they both disappeared into the pit. Back with Naruto, Kaguya returned a minute before they all heard the scream in the distance, making Naruto and his family smile. Now that that is taken care of, tell me, how has your progress in unlocking the Tensegan come? Asked Naruto. I can activate it F for 10 minutes A at a time, said Hinata. I haven't activated it yet, but I'm close, I can feel it, said Hanabi. Naruto couldn't help but smile at his children, they were making great progress in controlling their power. You two are doing very well, it took your brother into his late 20s before he could use the Tensegan, said Naruto. Hinata and Hanabi frowned at the mention of their older brother Hamura, the only other one to even have the Tensegan. Their father had told them about all of their siblings, and while he didn't hate Hamura and Hagoromo, he was disappointed in them. Hinata and Hanabi on the other hand did much like the two, but for their father's sake they wouldn't hate them. I think they deserve a reward, don't you, Kaguya-chan? Asked Naruto. Yes dear, and I think I have just the thing, said Kaguya as she reached into her sleeves. You have to admit that Kaguya has some big ass sleeves, and pulled out two of the CU tests things Hinata and Hanabi have ever seen. Baby bunnies, yelled Hinata and Hanabi in excitement as they took the bunnies from their mother. Hinata's bunny was pure white with blue eyes and Hanabi's was brown with brown eyes. Oh, thank you so much Daddy, Mommy, they are so adorable, said Hanabi. Thank you Father, Mother, B, but I don't think Hiyashi WW will let you keep them, said Hinata. Don't worry about that my dear, these rabbits will not only act as your pets but your guardians as well. Trust me, these are no ordinary rabbits, said Kaguya. Naruto smiled at his daughters before he became serious and stood up and held his hand out to Kaguya. Seeing this, Kaguya took his hand and stood with him. It is time to let our children know we have returned to the world, said Naruto. Kaguya nodded before they both let their chakra build up before releasing it in a pulse that covered the world. All across the nations, Naruto's children felt the pulse and became excited about their father's and mother's return. Now that that is done, you two need to head back and get some sleep, said Kaguya as she opened up two portals that lead to each girl's room in the Hyuga compound. Good night Daddy, Mommy, said Hanabi as she walked into her portal with her bunny. Good night dear, said Naruto and Kaguya. G good night F father. M mother, said Hinata, but before she could walk through her portal she was hugged by her father. Good night Hinata, I'll see you tomorrow in class, but please try not to stutter so much. There is no need to be so nervous around me, I'll always love you no matter what you do, said Naruto as he kissed her forehead. Hinata blushed a deep red but nodded before she walked into her portal. You know, for being such a daddy's girl, I'm surprised she didn't develop a father complex like some of your other daughters, said Kaguya. I'm actually surprised too, but whatever makes her happy, said Naruto. Naruto is currently sitting in the academy waiting for Iruka sensei to show up and divide them into teams. Naruto appeared to be calm as he sat in his seat, but on the inside he was trying his hardest not to explode. The reasons for this being that 1. He hated the academy since they taught nonsense most of the time and didn't really focus on things that could help them be ninjas. 2. The noise the fangirls were making as they fawned over Sasuke Uchiha and Menma Namikaze. And 3. Kiba Inuzuka kept hitting on his daughter Hinata when she clearly had no interest in him. No one seemed to notice the rabbit she had sitting on her desk in front of her. If it wasn't for the fact that Kiba's mother Sume was nice to Mito and his sister Hana was friends with Yugao, he would have neutered Kiba by now. He still might. Looking at Kiba, Naruto couldn't help but shake his head. The kid had great potential to be a taijutsu master and a great tracker along with his dog partner Akamaru, but he was too obsessed with proving that he was an alpha male and mating with who he felt was an alpha female, aka Hinata. Naruto didn't want Kiba anywhere near Hinata for the simple fact that Kiba was a horn dog. He knew Kiba had already slept with a couple of civilian girls that he only considered stepping stones to bedding Hinata. Naruto would kill Kiba and the entire human race, only saving those he liked, before he let that happen. The Inuzuka clan as a whole was actually in trouble because of Kiba's actions. It was a bad idea to sleep with a girl and then dump them after you were done in the first place. It was even worse when you're the clan heir, as your actions reflect on the clan. Because of Kiba's actions, a lot of male Inuzuka clan members were finding it hard to get dates or just to get women outside the clan to talk to them, which was bad since the Inuzuka clan was one of the few clans that believed in marrying outside of the clan in order to bring in new blood. Also, teams with Inuzuka males were given less missions that involved being around women, which were a lot. The Inuzuka females were unaffected by this since Sume set an example of what Inuzuka females were like, which meant if you messed with one in the wrong way you were up shit creek without a paddle. Naruto often wondered why Sume didn't just make Hana clan heir, but he later found out that the heir would be the oldest male child the clan head had if they had more than one child. While Sume could make Hana the clan heiress, she knew it would greatly hurt Kiba if he lost his title, and she wasn't willing to hurt her own son like that. Naruto knew that Sume only had 3 options. She could A. make Hana the heiress, B. whip Kiba into shape so he stops starting fires of trouble faster than she could put them out, or C. allow Kiba to continue as he is and drag the clan's name down with him. Turning his sights from Kiba, Naruto looked at Sasuke and couldn't help but frown deeply at him. In Naruto's opinion, Sasuke was the definition of a spoiled child. Sasuke used to be a pretty nice child before his brother Itachi killed everyone in the clan except Sasuke, their mother Makoto, and the children. Makoto survived because she was out visiting Kushina that night, and the children survived because of Naruto hiding them with a genjutsu that even the Sharingan couldn't break. Ever since that night, Sasuke has been a little brooding prick that was obsessed with killing Itachi. He seemed to completely ignore that he still had his loving mother and the other Uchiha children around. Hell, his mother had even offered to train him since she was a rather powerful kunoichi before she retired, but he refused and decided to train on his own. It also didn't help that most of the civilian council kissed the ground Sasuke walked on, making him think he was Kami's gift to the world and he was owed everything he wanted. Then came Menma, an arrogant child that just knew he had the power and skill to back it up. Being trained by both Minato and Jiraiya, plus looking like a younger version of Minato, has given Menma an ego that was as large as Sasuke's. Even though Menma chose to stay with Minato, he at least still respected Kushina for her kunoichi skills. He also didn't bother much with Naruto and Mito. He was civil with them some of the time, but other than that you could barely tell they were related. Speaking of Mito, Naruto turned to his right and looked at his younger twin. Mito looked like a younger Kushina with violet eyes, fair skin, long red hair kept in a ponytail, an athletic but feminine build, large D-cup breasts, a slim waist, a large bubble butt, and long legs. For clothes she wore black high-heel sandals, black knee-length tights, and a tight long-sleeved top and showed off her midriff. Her Konoha headband was tied around her forehead and around her neck was dark violet prayer beads with a silver medallion that had the image of a rabbit on one side and a wolf on the other, the symbol of her religion. She was currently bored out of her mind. Naruto couldn't help but smirk in amusement at that. Mito never did like being still for long periods of time. Mito and Kushina were actually the only beings besides his mates and children that knew who he was. Mostly, he told them that he was a god and that he was married to multiple women. Naruto told them when his body turned 14 and he got mixed reactions. Kushina was deeply shocked that her child wasn't technically her child but was in fact the god that the whole Uzumaki clan had worshipped. In the end she told him she didn't care and he was still her baby boy, and just because he was her god didn't mean she would let him do whatever he wanted. Naruto had laughed at that but couldn't help but feel touched at her declaration. Being a god that was around before everything, Naruto never knew what it was like to have a mother. He decided to let her continue to be his mother as he liked the feeling of having one. Mito on the other hand was crushed that he wasn't her brother. She greatly admired him and wanted to be just like him. That changed though when Naruto told her that he would still see her as a little sister, since just like not having a mother he didn't really have any siblings either. Mito's feelings changed over time though, and while she still treated Naruto as her brother she had also grown a crush on him. Naruto knew of her feelings of course but decided not to say anything. He'd wait until she decided to tell him herself. A few more minutes passed and Iruka finally came into the classroom, though he annoyed the fuck out of Naruto when he started a long and boring speech about how he was proud of them and how this was the start of their ninja life. Sasuke got Rookie of the Year and Sakura Haruno got Kunoichi of the Year. Naruto could have easily got Sasuke's title but simply didn't want it. Hell, he could rule the world right now, but he decided to do things slowly rather than instantly. Alright, for teams we have Team 1 with, said Iruka. Naruto decided to tune out Iruka since he could tell that teams 1 to 6 would be teams that wouldn't have anyone of interest on them. He did pay attention though when Iruka got to Team 7. Team 7, by order of Hokage-sama, will be Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Menma Namikaze. Your sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Team 8 will be Shino Aburame, Kiba Inuzuka, and Hinata Hyuga. Your sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year. Team 10 will be Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akamichi, and Shikamaru Nara. Your sensei will Asuma Sarutobi. And finally, the first ever three-man cell, Team 11 will be Naruto Uzumaki and Mito Uzumaki. Your sensei will be Anko Mitarashi, said Iruka. The reactions to the teams were very different for each team. For Team 7, Sasuke just continued to brood. Menma was glad that he got a strong sensei but irritated as he knew Kakashi was going to be late, and Sakura was off in fantasy land with thoughts of being double-teamed by both Sasuke and Menma. Seeing Sakura's nosebleed, Naruto couldn't help but shake his head. He saw a great deal of potential in Sakura but she wasted it fawning over the reincarnations of his grandsons Indra and Asura. Yeah, he knew about Indra and Asura reincarnating and he was greatly disappointed in them. He felt that after they died the first time that they would learn to work together instead of fighting against each other, but of course they just continued to fight. Now that he was here though, he would make sure they stopped fighting. For Team 8, Shino showed no emotion about his teammates. Hinata showed a neutral face but was fuming on the inside about being on the same team as Kiba, and Kiba was extra happy about being on the same team as Hinata, plus someone he knew wouldn't be any competition for him. For Hinata's feelings, Naruto was of course unhappy with the fact that his daughter would have to be around Kiba until she either became a Chunin or he killed Kiba. He put his money on him killing Kiba first. Not that he didn't believe in his daughter's skills, he just really didn't like Kiba being anywhere near his daughter. For Team 10, Ino was fine with her teammates since they were friends for their whole lives, but was upset at not being on a team with Sasuke or Menma. Shikamaru seemed to not care, and Choji just kept eating his chips. For Team 11, Mito couldn't be happier since she was on a team with her brother, as this meant she could get much stronger by learning from him as well as their sensei while continuing to learn from their mom. Naruto was also happy with his team as he greatly enjoyed his sister's company and she was a hard worker. It only took about an hour for the senseis to come and pick up their students, though Kakashi wasn't with them. Before any of them could call for their team, something broke through the window and landed in front of the class. It turned out to be a woman with lightly tanned skin, purple hair done in a spiky fan ponytail, pupil-less brown eyes, a slim but athletic build, large D-cup breasts, and firm ass. For clothes she wore a mesh bodysuit with nothing underneath, an orange mini skirt, silver shin guards, black sandals, a snake fang necklace, her headband around her forehead, and an open tan trench coat. Behind the woman was a banner that said, "The sexy and single Anko-sama." Alright brats, if still don't understand from the banner, then I'm the sexy and single Anko-sama and I'm here for my team, so Team 11 stand up, said Anko. At that, Naruto and Mito stood up and Anko got a good look at them before nodding her head. Hey Nai-chan, you mind if I do introductions with you since I only have 2 genin? Asked Anko. Not at all, Anko. Team 8, you're with me, said Kurenai. Kurenai was a rather beautiful woman with fair skin, long untamed black hair that reached her upper back, unique red eyes that had an additional ring in them, a slim build, and D-cup breasts with only a little bit of makeup consisting of purple eyeshadow and red lipstick. For clothes she wore a red mesh armor blouse with only the right sleeve visible, over that is a broad material that resembles bandages with a pattern that looks like rose thorns, her hands and upper thighs are wrapped in bandages, her headband in on her forehead, and she wears regular sandals. With that, Team 8 and Team 11 went with Kurenai and Anko to Kurenai's favorite tea house, though they had a little trouble getting service since Naruto and Mito was there, but a small amount of killing intent from Naruto fixed that. Mostly because a small amount to Naruto was a life-threatening amount to a normal person, and while Kurenai and Anko felt him to it, they didn't say anything since they felt he was in the right. Alright brats, let's get down to business and do introductions. Nai-chan and I will go first to show you how it's done, said Anko. Naruto's sweat dropped at the fact that they believed that they didn't know how to introduce themselves but let it go as just a human thing, though Mito's sweat dropped to when she noticed this and the fact that Kiba nodded along with it. I'll go first. My name is Anko Mitarashi. I like dango, snakes, my friends, training, and torturing people. My dislikes are traitors, rapists, those who take my dango, fangirls, and my former sensei. My hobbies include torturing people at T&I, eating dango, hanging out with my friends, leaving men with blue balls, and drinking sake. My dream for the future is to kill my former sensei, said Anko with a sadistic smirk. Naruto briefly wondered if Jashin had a child she didn't tell him about, but threw that thought away as his mates told him everything. My name is Kurenai Yuhi. I like my friends, tea, roses, and genjutsu. My dislikes are perverts, rapists, fangirls, people who look down on serious kunoichi, and a certain book series. My hobbies include hanging out with my friends, reading my favorite book series, Ninja of My Heart, and punishing perverts. My dreams for the future are to show the world that genjutsu is an art that shouldn't be looked down on, meet the author of my favorite book series, see my team become successful in their ninja career, and to have a family, said Kurenai. Alright, with this out of the way, we'll start with my team since I only have 2, you go first, Snow Top, said Anko. Fine, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like my family, my friends, nature, ramen, dumplings, training, and writing books. My dislikes are rapists, child abusers, war, people who disturb my peace, and people who disrespect my family and try to harm my sister. My hobbies include relaxing in nature, writing my books series, training, hanging out with my friends and family, and I've been known to play music every now and then. My dreams for the future are to live in peace with a large family, said Naruto. Wait, what book series do you write? Asked Anko. I'm actually the writer of Ninja of My Heart, so I guess one of Kurenai sensei's dreams came true. I'm actually surprised you didn't recognize my name Kurenai sensei since my name is on the back of each book, said Naruto. Naruto had started writing Ninja of My Heart after he heard Jiraiya bragging about his own book. He had taken a look at Jiraiya's book and found that it was nothing but smut. Sure, the story was good, but it was still smut. So Naruto decided to write his own book, and right now it was doing much better than Makeout Paradise, the reason being that Naruto made it so that you actually cared about the characters and their story. There was in the story, but instead of mindless fucking it was intense, passionate love making. In Naruto's opinion, a good scene didn't just give you a nosebleed but also a boner that lasted even after the scene was over. It also helped that you didn't put say in every chapter, that way it had build up. Kurenai quickly took out her copy of his third book and looked on the back and saw that his name was in the bottom right corner of the book. Kurenai's eyes sparkled at finally meeting her favorite author, but decided to hold back her excitement until after introductions were done, then she could ask the questions she always wanted to ask. Although she didn't show it, Anko was excited too since she also loved the book. She didn't say so earlier because she always teased Kurenai for always being in the book. Needless to say, she was extremely happy to be teaching her favorite author. Well, anyway, let's continue with introductions. You're up, Red, said Anko. My name is Mito Uzumaki. I like my family, my friends, ramen, training, and reading. My dislikes are perverts, rapists, and any villager that can't get past their hatred. My hobbies include hanging out with my brother and mother, training, reading, and learning about the Uzumaki. My dream is to become a great kunoichi and marry the man of my dreams, said Mito. Very good, you two. Now it's my team's turn. Why don't you start us off, Hinata? Said Kurenai. Hinata glanced over to her father with a blush on her cheeks. Naruto simply nodded to her with an encouraging smile. Seeing this, Hinata took a deep breath to calm herself down and reminded herself that she always had her father's approval no matter what. My name is Hinata, Hyuga, said Hinata, though she hated saying Hyuga as she really wanted to say her real name. I like my family, my friends, flower pressing, cinnamon buns, and foo-foo cuddly poops, said Hinata as she held up her bunny. I dislike the caged bird seal of the Hyuga clan, the Hyuga elders, perverts, rapists, people who make fun of my eyes, and boys that won't leave me alone, said Hinata as she looked right at Kiba when she said the last part. No one seemed to notice Naruto stiffen when she said people made fun of her eyes. He didn't know anyone made fun of her eyes. Who made fun of her eyes? He would turn them inside out and then make fun of their insides. My hobbies include flower pressing, reading, training, spending time with my little sister, playing with foo-foo cuddly poops, and spending time with my family. My dreams for the future is to become a strong kunoichi and to find a boy my father will approve of, said Hinata. Very good, Hinata. You're next, Kiba, said Kurenai while trying not to cuddle foo-foo cuddly poops. He just looked so adorable. Yahoo! I'm Kiba Inuzuka and this is my partner Akamaru. I like dogs, my clan, girls and women, girls being 13 to 17, women being 18 plus, and Hinata-chan. I dislike animal abusers, Sasuke, Menma, Naruto, and anyone who flirts with Hinata-chan. My hobbies include training, playing with Akamaru, and doing other activities. My dreams for the future are to become a great clan head and to marry Hinata-chan, said Kiba. Naruto was slightly shaking in rage as it took everything in his power to not kill Kiba right then and there. Kurenai was shaking too as she just realized that she had a pervert on her team. Sure, just about everyone knew about Kiba sleeping around, but the fact that he called it one of his hobbies really pissed her off. "I'm not marrying you, Kiba," said Hinata in cold and stern voice that reminded Naruto so much of her mother. On the outside Hinata appeared calm, cool, and collected, but on the inside she was a raging inferno of anger that she was desperately trying to keep contained. "That stupid mutt, how dare he say something like that out loud and in front of my father no less, I have never been so embarrassed in my life." Hinata raged in her mind. "Moving on, it's your turn, Shino," said Kurenai. "My name is Shino Aburame. I like bugs, my clan, NT. I dislike those who kill bugs for no reason, insect repellent, and those that mistreat my clan. My hobbies include reading, studying bugs, and learning more about my clan. My dream for the future is to be a good clan head," said Shino. "Well, now that that's out of the way, I can tell you that you all are not officially genin, as the academy was just to see who was good enough to take the real genin test. Though Naruto and Mito, since there are only two of you and your siblings, I'm not even going to bother with the test," said Anko. "Aw man, well in that case you wanna go out, Hina." Kiba never got to finish as he was kicked in the face by Fu Cuddly Poops and sent crashing into the street outside the tea shop. This surprised everyone except Naruto and Hinata. Naruto wasn't surprised because the rabbit was born specifically to keep idiots like Kiba away from his daughter, and Hinata wasn't surprised because she saw the rabbit do the same thing to Hiyashi this morning when he saw the bunny and tried to take it away. "Anyway, Team 8 meet at Training Ground 8 at 7 a.m. sharp. Dismissed," said Kurenai after getting out of her shock and before she and Anko disappeared. With that, the group split up and went home, with only Mito and Naruto going in the same direction. While walking home, Naruto decided it was time he talked to his son face to face and that it was time that he and Mito started to work together. Uzumaki House. Since they no longer lived in the Namikaze mansion, the Uzumakis now lived in a nice two-story house with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a game room, and a pool in the backyard. Walking into the house, Mito and Naruto saw their mother sitting on the couch reading a book while wearing her normal attire. "Hey kids, how was your day?" asked Kushina with a motherly smile on her face. "It was fine, Mom. Naruto and I are on the same team," said Mito as she sat on her mother's right side. "We also don't have to take the secret test since our sensei could tell that Mito and I wouldn't have any problems working together," said Naruto as he sat on the left. "Well, that's good to hear. I didn't spend all that time training you two together for them to separate you two," said Kushina. Naruto nodded at this, and while he didn't need training, he did enjoy learning new things. Plus, it would be suspicious if a completely untrained child could suddenly crush villages by just unleashing his chakra. "Mom, I think it's time Mito talked with the Kyuubi," said Naruto. Though he disliked using his son's title rather than his actual name, he thought it would be worth it to see the look on Kushina's and Mito's face when they learned that the Biju were his children. "What? Why?" asked Kushina, terrified at the idea of her daughter being anywhere near the Kyuubi. "Because having Mito and the Kyuubi working together rather than against each other, and it will also make it so Mito doesn't use the Kyuubi's chakra while she angry and can't control herself," said Naruto. Seeing that Kushina wasn't convinced, he sweetened the deal. "If you'd like, you can come along with me and Mito into her mindscape," said Naruto. Kushina took a deep breath before nodding her head in agreement. Mito didn't say anything because she trusted Naruto knew what he was doing. She knew Kushina believed in Naruto too, but as a mother it was in her nature to worry about her children. "Good. Now then, Mito, I need you to lift your shirt and show me the seal. Mom, I need you to make a reinforced shadow clone to watch over us and to explain things should anyone come and check up on us," said Naruto. Mito blushed but lifted her up so it was just under her breasts and started to channel chakra so that her seal showed. Kushina created a reinforced shadow clone. Naruto sat cross-legged in front of Mito and placed his hand on her seal while Kushina sat behind him and placed her hand on his shoulder. He closed his eyes and channeled his chakra. Mito's mindscape. When Naruto opened his eyes, he, Mito, and Kushina were in Mito's mindscape. Mito's mindscape took the form of a large forest with lush green grass, a few mountains in the distance, a large lake, and dark clouds in the gray sky. Naruto knew that the clouds and sky showed Mito's negative feelings towards the village, since despite Naruto's and Kushina's best efforts, Mito still did get affected by the villagers' treatment of her. Walking deeper into Mito's mindscape, they soon came across giant cage doors with a paper seal sitting in the middle. Suddenly a large red eye with a black slit pupil opened up in the darkness behind the gate and glared at them. So my jailer has finally decided to visit me, and would look at this, she's also brought my former jailer and her brother. To what I owe the displeasure of having you in my presence? Asked Kurama with rage clear in his voice. Then the cage lit up and showed him in all his glory. Oh my, you really have grown, haven't you, my son? Naruto thought to himself, though he did notice that Kurama didn't seem to recognize him, most likely because he looked so young. Look, Kyuubi, the only reason I'm here at all is because my brother had the idea that it would be better if we worked together rather than against each other, said Mito. And why should I care what your stupid brother thinks? He's just some worthless human with a name he doesn't deserve, said Kurama with a growl. He really didn't like that some human had the same name as his father. Now you listen here, B. Mito didn't finish because Naruto placed his hand on shoulder to stop her from finishing. My, you sure have grown over the years. It's good to see you again, Kurama, said Naruto with a small smile. Kushina and Mito didn't understand what Naruto was talking about, but Kurama was shocked and enraged. How do you know that name? Yelled Kurama. Isn't it obvious, Kurama? I know your name because Naruto's body started glow before he completely changed into his true form, which still towered over Kurama. I'm the one that named you, said Naruto. Kushina and Mito stared in awe as they finally saw their son, brother, God in his true form. Father, shouted Kurama in surprise. Hello, my son. Before we continue this talk, let's get rid of this seal, as I don't like seeing you caged, said Naruto before he swiped one of his tails at the gate and completely destroyed it. Stay put, Kurama, said Naruto as he noticed Kurama getting ready to leap at Mito and Kushina. Kurama immediately sat still and didn't dare to move. He still remembered the punishments he and his siblings used to get when they disobeyed their mother and father. Father, what is going on? Asked Kurama. We would like to know that as well, Naruto-kun, said Kushina in a nervous voice. It's simply Kurama. I'm here to visit my son and release him from his prison. I also felt you would work well with Mito here, said Naruto. Also Kushina, Mito, this is my son Kurama. Naruto explained to the two. You have a son, shouted Kushina in surprise. Not just a son, but I have many children. Why are you so surprised? I told you and Mito that I was a god and that I was married to multiple women. Did you really think I went all these centuries without having children? Asked Naruto. Kushina just rubbed the back of her head sheepishly. Wait, if the Kyuubi is your son, does that mean that the rest of the Biju are your children as well? Asked Mito. That is correct. They are all my precious children, with Kura-chan here being the oldest of the 9, said Naruto. Father, I'm too old for you to call me that, yelled Kurama. If it wasn't for his fur already being a dark color, everyone would be able to see that his face was a bright red. No, you're not. Just because you're bigger doesn't mean you're not still my little Kura-chan, said Naruto. Father, whined Kurama while Kushina and Mito were silently laughing at him. Wait, brother, do you have any human-looking children? Asked Mito. I do. In fact, most of them are either the same age as you or older, with only a few being younger, said Naruto. Really? Who are they and how is that possible? Asked Kushina, forgetting that this is a god she is talking about. Nothing is impossible. I'm a god, Mom. I can be in multiple places at once, so while you were changing my diaper, an older version of me was out taking care of my children. It's an ability I used often when I was a baby, since I didn't want to worry you with your newborn suddenly disappearing on you for long periods of time. I'm also all-knowing, but I don't use that power often since I like surprises. I let Kami be the all-knowing one in the relationship, said Naruto, smirking at Kushina's sheepish face. She should have known it was something like that. As for who they are, well, I guess I can tell you the ones here in Konoha. You already know Kura-chan here. There is also your former student Yugao-chan, then there is Hinata-chan, and my youngest right now is Hanabi-chan, said Naruto. Mito was shocked that she'd been going to school and was friends with her brother's daughter all this time and didn't know it. Though thinking about it now, it all made sense. Hinata was a very nice and sweet girl, but when you angered her, she was like a force of nature that wouldn't be stopped until she wanted to stop. She was drop-dead gorgeous with a body that most grown women would kill their own mother to have, not to mention she carried herself like she was divine royalty. Mito at first thought it was because she was a Hyuga, but now it made sense. Hinata Hyuga was the daughter of a god, so she was divine royalty. Hell, everything about her screamed that she was divine now that Mito thought about it. Even her voice, which was soft and gentle, carried a shit ton of raw power behind it. Kushina, on the other hand, looked like her brain just exploded. Kurama, she could understand even Yugao since not many knew anything about her family. Most believed that her parents were ninja that died in war. But Kushina knew Hinata's and Hanabi's mother personally. Hell, she was there when both girls were born, so how was Naruto the father? Wait. How is that possible? I was there for when those two were born, and I know Hitomi didn't cheat on Hiyashi, so unless you god beamed your sperm into her, how are you the father? Asked a frantic Kushina. This actually got Naruto to chuckle, as he actually could do something like but chose not to. It felt way better to make babies the old-fashioned way. Well, I guess I could tell you. Do you wish to hear the story as well, Kurama? Asked Naruto before asking his son the question. Actually, yes. You may have told me of my little sisters, but you never actually explained how they came to be. I at first thought you had just adopted them into the family until now, said Kurama. And you accepted them like they were blood related anyway, and for that I'm proud of you, Kurama, said Naruto with a smile that Kurama returned. If I'm going to tell this story, I better go get your mother so she can see you again and make sure I don't leave anything important out, said Naruto before disappeared from the mindscape. Once Naruto was gone, an awkward silence overtook the ones that were left. Desperate to break the silence and stop the awkwardness, Kushina decided to ask a question. So since you're Naruto's son, does that make me your grandma? Asked Kushina. No, just because my father accepts you as his mother does not mean you have any relation to me or the rest of my siblings, said Kurama with a sneer. What's with the attitude? Can't we just get along? Asked Kushina. I think you're forgetting that for years you had me chained to a moon with stakes going through my tails, joints, and stomach. As far as I'm concerned, you have a lot to make up for before we can get along. You are nothing like Mito, said Kurama. What do you mean she's nothing like me? Asked Mito. Not you, child. I meant the woman you're named after. Mito Uzumaki Senju was actually a good friend of mine. When I was sealed in her, I was free to move around as I pleased. I could see and hear through her senses, and she would talk to me almost every day. It saddened me when she died, but at least she said goodbye. When I was transferred to your mother, I knew she wouldn't be the same as Mito, but hoped to have at least a good relationship with her. Instead, I got treated like a feral animal that needed to be restrained and ignored unless she needed my chakra for some reason, said Kurama. Kushina wanted to say something to this, but she couldn't. She had done everything that Kurama said she did, and now she was panicking a bit since she treated the son of her god in such a shameful way. The only plus side she saw was that she could at least make up for her past actions. What about me? How do you feel about me? Asked Mito. Neutral as of right now. Sure, you may have caged me and ignored me, but that's just because you didn't know you could talk to me. Though don't think I didn't catch that beast comment you would have made if father hadn't stopped you, said Kurama with narrowed eyes as Mito sheepishly rubbed the back of her head. At that point, Naruto returned with Kaguya sitting on his head. Kushina and Mito were in awe of Kaguya's beauty and the power that radiated from her. Mito noticed the similarities between Kaguya and Hinata. not just in the eyes but also in how they carried themselves. After Naruto laid down on his belly, Kaguya stepped down from his head and walked up to Kurama. Kurama shrunk down in size until he was about an inch shorter than Kaguya, and with that done Kaguya hugged Kurama around his neck and Kurama nuzzled into his mother. "I missed you, my son," said Kaguya in a loving motherly. "I missed you to mother," said Kurama before he pulled back from the hug. "My little Kura-chan has grown so much over the years," said Kaguya with a smile. "Mother, please, not you too," whined Kurama. "Oh hush, as your parents were allowed to call you cute pet names. Now your father tells me he's about to tell you how Hinata and Hanabi were born, so everyone get comfortable as it's a rather long and complicated story," said Kaguya. When that everyone got comfortable with Kurama laying on his stomach while Kushina and Mito sat next to each other, Naruto changed into his human adult form, which made Mito and Kushina blush at how handsome he looked, before sitting against a tree with Kaguya sitting on his lap and snuggling into his arms. "You know, before Hinata was born I was surprised Kaguya Hime here even wanted more kids after having Kura-chan and the others," said Naruto with Kurama still grumbling about being called Kura-chan. "It's not like I didn't want more children, I just didn't want to have 9 children at the same time again. You have no idea how hard and painful it is to push out 9 kids, especially 9 Biju-sized kids," said Kaguya. Kushina paled at this. Sure, she loved all of her children, even Menma, and would gladly give birth to them again if given the, but even she had to admit that the process was horrible. She only had to do it 3 times, but Kaguya had to do it 9 times. Kushina couldn't imagine the levels of dedication and love it would take for her to push out 6 more kids. Hell, after she had Menma, she had cursed out the doctor for telling her that Naruto was coming, and after that she had to have another doctor come help her because she punched out the first one for telling her that Mito was coming. There was no telling how much of the hospital staff she would have gone through if she had to push out 6 more children. "Right, sorry dear. Anyway, one night Kaguya and I were just relaxing in our little house, but she looked so beautiful to me and I just had to have her. So after a rather intense makeout session we ripped off each other's clothes off, I bent her over the table, and shoved my," said Naruto before Kurama interrupted. "Father, I think you can skip this part," yelled Kurama in horror at the images assaulting his mind. It was bad enough when his mother and father had given him and his sibling the talk, he didn't need the image of them doing it in his mind. Kushina and Mito were both blushing bright red from the images they were drawing up, with Mito even having a little nosebleed. Kaguya, however, smiled as she remembered that night with her husband. It was a night full of passion and love that made her toes curl, her throat sore from screaming, and her stomach full. Not to mention she wasn't able to walk the next day. Fine, I'll skip the juicy part anyway after that night," said Naruto. Hitomi Hyuga, a member of the branch family of the Hyuga clan. She was a very kind woman as she treated everyone equally and could always be seen with a soft smile on her face. She was also a very beautiful woman with long midnight blue hair, soft white skin, an hourglass figure, wide hips, long legs, DD-cup breasts, and a thick ass. Hitomi's beauty and kindness were a few of the reasons why she was the most loved member of the branch family. Another reason was because she was a splendid ninja, one of the best the branch family had to offer. Despite this, her life was terrible. She had been forcibly married to her clan head Hiashi Hyuga. Hiashi was a very old man that barely talked to her if it wasn't necessary and treated her more like his personal maid rather than his wife. Recently he's been talking about how it was her duty to produce an heir for him and had bedded her every night for the last month with no positive results. This was something she was actually happy about, as she could tell with the way he treated her that he would be a terrible father, though he was starting to bed her more frequently. These days he tended to get mad at her when she told him that she still wasn't pregnant, as if it was her fault. The smile she was once known for always having had become a rare sight due to just how unhappy she was. Hitomi was currently sitting in the Hyuga garden among all the flowers while looking at a medallion in her hands. The medallion was silver with the image of a rabbit on one side and a wolf on the other and hung from dark violet prayer beads. Her friend Kushina had given it to her when she noticed just how unhappy she was and told her to hold in her hands while praying and she would receive help. Story pause. We will have a long talk about you giving out our medallions, Kushina. Though you did it for the right reasons, our medallions are only meant for the faithful. Next time simply pray to us yourself and we will do what we can, said Kaguya. Kushina looked down like a child being scolded by their mother after being caught eating cookies before dinner. It was worse because when she was little, Mito told her not to give the medallion to others or it could anger their gods. Story restart. Hitomi knew that this medallion belonged to Kushina's religion, but she didn't put too much stock in the idea of getting help from Kushina's god. Now, though she was pretty much out of options, as she could tell that not only was Hiashi becoming angry with her but so were the elders, and it probably wouldn't be long before they arranged for her to have an accident, and just married Hiashi to someone else. Having no other options other than to take a chance, she clenched the medallion in her hands and began to pray. Please, if you're listening, I need help. The man that is supposed to love me doesn't, and I fear for my life should I not fall pregnant soon. If I do fall pregnant, I fear for the well-being of the child as well, for my husband is a cold and uncaring man, he is but a puppet that the elders use to do as they wish. Prayed Hitomi. She then felt the medallion become warm in her hands and saw it start to glow before everything around her seemed to slow down before coming to a complete stop. The birds had stopped in mid-flight, the fish in the koi pond next to her had stopped swimming, and even the gentle breeze she was enjoying had stopped. A hyuga, it has been some time since I've spoken with a hyuga, said Naruto as he appeared behind Hitomi in his adult human form. Hitomi quickly turned around at the sound of his voice and couldn't help the light dusting of pink that came to her cheeks. Are you Kushina's god? Asked Hitomi. Yes, I am. Of the two gods of the Uzumaki clan, it is the wolf that stands before you while the rabbit rests. Now tell me everything and leave nothing out, said Naruto. With that, Hitomi began to tell Naruto everything that had happened to and around her while Naruto closed his eyes and listened. Once she finished, Naruto did not like anything he heard. Truly, you humans can be the most disgusting of beings at times. To think that the descendants of my wife and I would enslave their own family members, said Naruto. Lord. Hitomi trailed off for his name. Naruto, said Naruto, knowing that Hitomi would most likely believe that Kushina simply named one of her sons after her god. Lord Naruto, what do you mean by your descendants? Asked Hitomi while believing that Kushina named one of her sons after her god. It is like I said, the Hyuga clan is directly descended from my wife and I. In fact, the Hyuga clan, Uchiha clan, Senju clan, Uzumaki clan, and the Kaguya clan are all direct descendants of my wife and I. But you did not call me here for a history lesson. The situation with your clan is far more dire than you understand, said Naruto. How so, Lord Naruto? Asked Hitomi. The branch family have figured out that they outnumber the main family and were planning an uprising, since even with the caged bird seal they believed they could overtake the main family. The elders also figured this out, and because of this they married you, the most loved branch Hyuga, to the clan head. They've given the branch family a false belief that now that one of their own is in such a high position that they have a chance to be free of their slavery, said Naruto. But the elders won't allow that, said Hitomi in a sad voice. Correct. They simply married you to Hiashi in order to placate the branch family. Most likely they expected you to be pregnant by now so that you could give birth to an heir that would most likely inherit your natural skill before they killed you off and made a show of having Hiashi mourn you to trick the branch family into believing he actually cared, said Naruto. But he wouldn't really care. It'd be just a show to keep the branch family in line and the thought of rebellion far from their minds. What would happen to the child if their plan succeeded, Lord Naruto? Asked Hitomi with a bit of fear in her voice at what the fate of the child would be. If you would have birth a son, the elders would have most likely groomed him to be just like Hiashi, only he would be worse. Not only would he do the same thing to some young woman that Hiashi is doing to you, but since the boy was born of a branch Hyuga, the branch family would trust him, and in return he would take even more of their freedoms. If you had birthed a girl, they would have most likely destroyed her self-esteem until she simply did anything that was asked of her without question, then married her off to some noble that promised them either money or political power, said Naruto. Hitomi clenched her fists at this information, as she didn't want either of those to happen. Is there a way you can help me? Asked Hitomi. Not just you but the entire clan, but I need to speak with my wife first, so give me a moment, said Naruto. Hitomi nodded at this and watched as he closed his eyes, and she guessed had a mental conversation with his wife. She sat there waiting for about half an hour before he opened his eyes. Hitomi-san, would you like a nanny job? Asked Naruto. I guess, said Hitomi, a little confused by the question. Just then Kaguya appeared in a flash of light while standing next to Naruto. Hitomi was taken back by Kaguya's beauty and could only guess that this was the wife Naruto was talking about. So this is the woman you wish to help? Asked Kaguya. Yes dear, this is Hitomi Hyuga, said Naruto. Kaguya started at Hitomi for a while before speaking. Very well, you will be sleeping on the couch for a month after this, beloved, said Kaguya. Yes dear. Hitomi, my wife here, Kaguya, is pregnant with our next daughter. In order to help you in this clan, I will transfer our daughter into you so that as she gets older she will reshape the Hyuga clan into something to be proud of. You will act as her nanny when either Kaguya or myself aren't taking care of her. She is not to be harmed while in your care, and you are to be the one to teach her the gentle fist, said Naruto. Hitomi was greatly shocked at Naruto's plan and could now understand why he would be sleeping on the couch. His wife clearly wanted to give birth to their child, and this plan took that away from her, but apparently Kaguya could understand that this would save the clan. Why you wish for me to give birth to a goddess? Said Hitomi. Yes, with the will of both myself and my husband behind her, your elders and Hiashi will not be able to influence her, and with the power she'll carry she'll be able to fix the Hyuga clan, said Kaguya. With that said and done, Naruto placed his hands on Kaguya's and Hitomi's stomachs and transferred the baby to Hitomi. We will be watching over you to make sure nothing happens to you or the baby, said Naruto. Years later, Hitomi was sitting in the Hyuga garden watching a 3-year-old Hinata playing in the flowers. If you asked Hitomi if it was worth giving birth to a daughter that wasn't her own, she would tell you yes every time. Hitomi found Hinata to be an absolute joy to be around. In fact, as of right now, Hinata and her friends outside of the clan were her only joys. When she informed Hiashi that she was finally pregnant, he reacted in the way that she expected. He simply told her that it was about time. He then made her stop visiting the branch family because, in his own words, now that you are carrying the next clan head, you can't be wasting time amongst the servants. She couldn't believe he had said that to her face. This had the effect of making the branch family believe that she had forgotten where she came from and became just another uptight main family member. With the main family still seeing her as only a branch member and the branch family only seeing her as a main member, she was hated by both sides of her family. Naruto and Kaguya came by plenty of times just to speak with her, as they knew of her situation with her family. They had actually become good friends of hers. It always makes her smile to think that she is a friend to two gods. When Hinata was born, Hitomi quickly figured out that a baby goddess was way different from a baby human. Since Hinata couldn't be trained yet, Hiashi left Hinata with her a lot of the time while he dealt with clan matters. The elders had already started their plan to kill her as they poisoned her tea and food, but thanks to Naruto and Kaguya she was immune to the poison. Naruto and Kaguya came by pretty much every day to spend time with Hinata. It was clear to Hitomi that even at only a few weeks old, Hinata knew who her parents were, and that was fine with her, as she and Hinata developed a sisterly bond. As Hinata grew, Hitomi noticed that when around herself or her parents she smiled more, laughed, and all around acted like a normal happy child, but when Hiashi or any other Hyuga was around she became quiet and very serious, much like her mother. What no one other than her, Naruto, and Kaguya knew was that because she was a goddess, Hinata developed faster than any normal child. At 3 months old, Hinata could walk on her own without trouble and could talk in full sentences. At a year old, she had a vocabulary that was better than most adults and understood more about the world than some of the world's greatest thinkers. And at 2 years old, she understood politics and where babies came from. She had even asked her parents for a sibling. Because of this, she was once again pregnant with another of Naruto's and Kaguya's children. She didn't mind though, as they were her gods now, as she had officially joined their faith. Hiashi didn't really care that she was pregnant again, and the elders were mad because they expected her to be dead by now. She did worry though, because at 2 years old Hinata was kidnapped by Akumo Jonin and she believed she'd be in trouble for that, but Naruto assured her that it was fine, as apparently Hinata hadn't even woken up during the whole ordeal. It made her sweat drop that Hinata was such a heavy sleeper. Suddenly everything started to slow to a stop and she felt the medallion she had hidden under her kimono start to become warm. She knew this meant that her gods were coming. And just like she thought, Naruto and Kaguya appeared in front of her in a flash of light. "Father! Mother!" squealed Hinata as she ran over and hugged both of her parents, who returned the hug. "Hello Hinata-chan, how are you doing?" asked Naruto. "I'm very well, father," said Hinata. "Are you behaving for Hitomi?" asked Kaguya. "Yes, mother," said Hinata. "And how are you, Hitomi?" asked Naruto. "I'm fine, Naruto. Are you and Kaguya here on pleasure or business?" asked Hitomi. "A bit of both. We wanted to see Hinata-chan while also checking on you and the baby, but we also want to discuss what to do concerning the elders' plans," said Naruto. "They've grown tired of waiting for the poison to kill you and have decided to kill you as soon as the baby is born. We will not allow this to happen, as you have become a dear friend to us," said Kaguya. "I won't let them hurt my big sister or my little sister, so I'll destroy them," said Hinata as she activated her Byakugan. "No, Hinata, you need to remain a simple child for now. Let your father and I handle this," said Kaguya, though she did have a small smile on her face at her daughter's protectiveness. Hinata deactivated her Byakugan and nodded to her mother with a pout on her face. This just made Kaguya hug Hinata close, as she loved when her daughter acted cute like that. With that, Naruto and Kaguya discussed their plan with Hitomi before spending some time just talking as friends and playing with Hinata before they left. Months later, just minutes after Hanabi was born, Naruto appeared and replaced Hitomi with a lifeless copy he made. After taking Hitomi away and disappearing, one of the Hyuga elders came into the room and injected a very deadly toxin into what he believed to be a sleeping Hitomi. The next day, the elders told everyone that she had died due to the stress of childbirth, never knowing the truth of the divine intervention that had occurred. Story end. With that done, Kaguya and I visited Hanabi-chan as often as possible, with Hinata-chan acting as the protective older sister she is, said Naruto as he finished the story. "Wow, so that's how it all happened. Wait, what happened to Hitomi if she didn't really die?" asked Kushina, wanting to know what happened to her friend. "She works as one of my personal servants. She lives in the realm of the gods now since she married Susanoo," said Kaguya, shocking everyone other than Naruto. "Well, I think that's it for story time, so we'll be going. Kura-chan, I won't be taking you out of Mito just yet, as I feel you two will work great together. Get to know her, Kura-chan, as I know you will come to like her," said Naruto while rubbing his son's head. Kurama still grumbled about being called Kura-chan but nodded to his father's words. Kaguya walked over to Kurama and kissed his forehead and was about to disappear back to the house in the forest of death before Kushina stopped her. "Wait, please come stay with us in our home. I'd like to get know my goddess and I guess my daughter-in-law," said Kushina. Kaguya stared at Kushina for a few moments before she nodded. If her husband could see this woman as a mother figure, then she could as well. Kaguya and Kushina disappeared from Mito's mindscape, with Mito quickly following, leaving on Kurama and Naruto. "Say what you want to say, Kurama. I felt you having something important to say since I got here," said Naruto. Kurama started at his father for a few moments before taking a deep breath and looking down. I'm sorry, said Kurama in a soft voice. Sorry? Sorry for what, Kurama? Asked Naruto. He then noticed Kurama's body shaking and saw what looked to be a tear run down his right cheek. I'm sorry that I failed you and mother. Before you left you said it was my job to look after the others and I failed. Because of my incompetence myself and the others are sealed away and need you and mother to come save us. We've been used as weapons and slaves. My younger siblings are suffering because I was too weak to protect them like a big brother should. You gave me one task, protect my family, and I failed miserably. I'm no better than Hagoromo, said Kurama with tears having increased while he was talking to the point that the fur on his cheeks have become matted. That's enough, Kurama, yelled Naruto. Kurama quickly looked up and saw that Naruto had returned to his true form and was looking down at him with narrowed eyes. Return to your true size, Kurama, said Naruto as Kurama said nothing and just did as his father said. Now you listen to me, you have nothing to be sorry about, my son, as you did your best to protect them. I watched you and the others from the realm of the gods and I saw how growing up you helped the others train in their powers, how helped them avoid the humans, how you broke up and resolved the fights you all would get into, and I saw how whenever a group of humans would start to hunt down one of your siblings that you would cause destruction somewhere else just to lure them away. You may only see your one failure, but I see your many successes. As for you being weak, it took Indra's reincarnation with power of the eyes a third as strong as mine and Kaguya's to subdue you, and took the combined might of Asura's reincarnation and the strongest Uzumaki to seal you. You, my son, are not weak by any means. And you are nothing like Hagoromo. I love your older brother, but you two are nothing alike. When came down to humans or family, he chose humans while you chose family. It that decision that makes you vastly different from your brother. You both may have strong personalities and strong wills to follow through with your ideals, but you are completely different beings, said Naruto. Kurama smiled as much as he could up at his father, the words he said filling his heart with joy that in his father's eyes he hadn't failed at all. He would take his father's words to heart and use them to strengthen himself so that when the time was right and he was released from Mito, he would be able to protect his whole family. It was his job as their big brother after all. Now no more crying, my son. After all, we can't have people find out that the big bad Kyuubi can actually cry now, can we, Kura-chan? Said Naruto with a teasing smirk on his muzzle. Damn it, father, will you stop calling me that? Yelled Kurama, though he did have a slight smirk on his face. He then became surprised when his father placed his forehead against his own and Kurama could the warmth coming his father flow thought out his whole body. His father hadn't done this since he was a little kid. I'm proud of you, Kurama, never forget that. And hold your head up high, you are my son after all, said Naruto before he started to disappear. It's been a month since team placements, and during that time things have been going great for Naruto. His team didn't do any missions for real because Anko refused to do D-rank missions. The missions they did do were C-ranked escort missions. He's gotten to know Anko a lot better over the month, and he's noticed how she would subtly inquire about when his next book would come out. He found her way of hiding that she liked his books cute. He also found it cute that she thought he didn't notice the small looks she sent his way during training. Training wasn't really necessary for him, so he spent most of that time helping Mito with her training. Speaking of Mito, he noticed that she had become a bit bolder with her advances on him. While she still hadn't outright confessed to him, it was clear to anyone that paid attention that she was interested in him as more than just her brother. During training, she would stretch in ways that really accentuated her body. When she hugged him, it would last a bit longer than usual, and she had started kissing him on his cheek a lot. As far as his home life was concerned, things were okay. Kushina and Mito got along fine with Kaguya. It was awkward at first because Kushina kept calling Kaguya Mistress or Lady Kaguya, but soon they were using each other's first names. Naruto also noticed that Kushina was developing less than motherly feelings for him. He didn't mind this, but just like with Mito, he wouldn't call her out on it and wait for her to confess to him. Things would be better if Minato wasn't poking his nose where it didn't belong. They had come to their house in order to check on Mito's seal and almost had a heart attack when he saw that the seal was gone. When he asked what happened to the seal, Kushina said that she had gotten rid of it since it really served no purpose. Minato almost imprisoned Kushina for that, saying that she endangered the entire village, but Naruto stepped in and explained the Kyuubi was no danger to them as its chakra was sealed within Menma, and the fact that there wasn't a giant powerless fox in the village meant that it was still within Mito even without the seal. Minato thought about this for a minute before conceding that Naruto was right, but he would continue to check on Mito every now and again in order to be sure that the Kyuubi hadn't taken her over. He assigned an Anbu to watch over her from the shadows, but unfortunately for him he assigned Yugao to the job, and instead of watching over Mito she used the time to spend some quality time with her father. Naruto couldn't believe how stupid Minato was to believe a thing he had said. Chakra was a combination of physical and spiritual energy that came from the body and the soul, both of which he sealed into Mito. Over the years Kurama had simply regenerated his lost chakra and now was twice as strong as before, since he still had access and control over the chakra sealed in Menma. Speaking of Menma, over the month of training he has had with Kakashi has only made his arrogance grow, and now Naruto couldn't stand the boy. Before Menma was at least civil with him and Mito, but now he looked down on them like they were nothing and insulted them along with Kushina whenever he got the chance. Now he was bragging to pretty much everyone that he was learning to control the Kyuubi's chakra and that he was in a political marriage with the Tsuchikage's granddaughter. Naruto really couldn't believe how stupid Menma was. He would be able to use Kurama's chakra, but without Kurama's help he would never control it. And from what he knew of the Tsuchikage's granddaughter, Kuratsuchi, she was a skilled and strong-willed woman that demanded respect. Naruto figured she and Menma would kill each other before marrying each other. Currently Naruto, Mito, and Anko were on their way to the Hokage Tower in order to get another mission. Naruto wasn't too excited about this as all of their escort missions were incredibly boring as nothing ever happened, but Anko promised that this one would be different. Once they reached the tower they ran into Team 8 who were also there for a mission. "Hey Anko-chan, are you ready for this mission?" asked Kuranai. "I sure am, Nai-chan, but whether our genin are ready for this or not will be found out during the mission," said Anko. "What kind of mission are we going on, Anko-sensei?" asked Naruto. "Well, it's been a month since we've taken you on as students, and after talking about it Kuranai and I have decided it's time for you guys to be blooded, so we're going on a joint bandit camp extermination mission," said Anko. At this information the genin had different reactions. Naruto and Hinata didn't react at all. Shino's bugs buzzed a bit to show his nervousness, Mito looked a bit unsure of herself, and Kiba looked excited for some reason. Well, I guess that this type of mission was bound to come up sooner or later. Well, it is better for genin to get their first kill with their jonin senseis watching over them, said Naruto. That's right, Naruto. This way if the genin freeze up or have a hard time dealing with their first kill, then their jonin sensei will be able to help them through it, said Kuranai. With that the two teams continued on their way to the Hokage's office and found Minato sitting behind his desk doing paperwork. "Ah, Team 8 and Team 11, what can I do for you?" asked Minato, happy about the distraction from his paperwork. "Hokage-sama, we would like to request a joint bandit camp extermination mission," said Kuranai. I see, I can understand why you want to take a mission like this, but are you sure your genin are ready for this type of mission?" asked Minato. "We're sure, Hokage-sama, and should anything go wrong Kuranai and I will be there to protect them," said Anko. "Very well, but just to be safe I'd like to assign one of my Anbu to help keep watch over everything," said Minato. This was a lie. He was sending an Anbu to keep watch over Mito. Now that Mito's seal was gone he didn't trust that the Kyuubi wouldn't try something while away from those that could seal it away again. "Very well, Hokage-sama, who is the Anbu coming with us?" asked Kuranai. "I'll be sending Anbu Cat with you. They'll meet you at the front gate in 10 minutes. Here is the mission scroll that'll lead you all to the bandit camp that has been causing trouble," said Minato. Kurenai and Anko nodded at this while Kurenai took the scroll. None of them noticed the smirk Naruto, Mito, and Hinata had on their faces. Once the two teams left the office, Minto called out to the chosen Anbu. Cat, called Minato. Yugao quickly appeared in a kneeling position in front of Minto. Inwardly she was glad her father was gone and couldn't see her like this. Her father did not believe his children should kneel to anyone, and if he saw her kneeling now then he would probably start destroying things. Yes, Hokage-sama, said Yugao. Cat, I know I've put a lot on your plate by having you watch over Mito while she's in the village, but now I need you to watch her on this mission. Since she'll be killing for the first time, I wouldn't put it past the Kyuubi take advantage of the conflict she'll be feeling after killing. If you notice anything strange or you feel she could become a danger to everyone, then I want you to use this seal to incapacitate her and bring her back to the village, said Minato as he gave Yugao the seal he made. Very well, Hokage-sama, said Yugao before leaving to meet up with everyone. She still had no intention of doing what Minato wanted, as she knew her big brother wouldn't go against their father's wishes. Later, Team 8, Team 11, and Yugao were jumping through the trees heading for the location of the bandit camp they were to exterminate. All of the women were very irritated as they could feel Kiba's eyes roaming their bodies. Naruto appeared calm on the outside, but on the inside he had already planned 60 ways to have Kiba killed on this mission for ogling 2 of his daughters. Hey Hinata, after this mission how about you come with me back to my place? Asked Kiba while watching her breasts bounce with each jump. I'm not interested in going anywhere with you, Kiba, outside of a professional setting, said Hinata. Oh come on Hinata, just get to know me on a deeper level and I promise you won't regret it, said Kiba. I know all I need to know about you, Kiba, said Hinata. Kiba, enough, we're on a mission, not in the middle of speed dating. Focus on the fact that you're about to take a life for the first time rather than getting into your teammate's pants, said Naruto. He was now really happy to be on this mission because now he would have people to take his rage out on. Hinata was actually feeling the same way. Naruto is right, Kiba, put your dick away and pay attention to the mission, said Anko. Kiba wasn't listening as he was watching her ass shake. When night came, the group finally made it to the bandit camp. It turned out to be much larger than they were expecting, but Kurenai and Anko decided that this was a lesson that the mission doesn't always go as expected. The genin were assigned different areas to attack from and were sent off while their senseis took positions where they could easily react to any situation. With Naruto was on his own in his assigned area and couldn't stop a vicious grin from appearing on his face. Kiba's pervertedness toward his daughters had really stirred the sleeping beast he truly was, and now he had the perfect chance to release his rage. Charging into the camp, the bandits didn't even get to scream before they were killed. Naruto crushed their skulls with powerful kicks, ripped out their hearts with his bare hands, and caved in their chests with strong punches. Hell, Naruto had even managed to rip out a few of their spines with their skulls still attached, and all of this carnage was being caused with nothing but taijutsu. Bandits continued to try and overwhelm Naruto with their numbers, but he easily tore them down. After a few minutes, the bandits got it in their heads that they weren't going to beat Naruto and started trying to run away. With a simple stomp of his foot, a huge wall of earth rose up and cut the bandits off from the rest of the camp. Now where did you guys think you were going? Did you honestly think I was gonna let you get away? Asked Naruto as he slowly walked towards them. The bandits were scared out of their mind as they tried to think of a way to escape. That fear only increased as Naruto allowed his 10 Hydra head tails and his horns to come out. You're a goddamn demon, said one of the bandits. No, I'm a demonic god and I am your end, said Naruto before charging at them as they screamed in terror. With Hinata, much like her father, Hinata was also taking out her rage on the bandits. In fact, she was so angry that instead of using the Byakugan, she was using the Tenseigan. The bandits didn't make their situation any better because the moment they saw her, they ogled her body and started talking about all of the perverted things they wanted to do to her, thus further fueling Hinata's rage. Hinata's attacks were graceful and flowed like water, but while her attacks were beautiful, the results of her attacks were quite gruesome. Due to Hinata's intense training to master the Tenseigen and her mastery of the gentle fist fighting style, she was a deadly person to fight, period. The Tenseigen allowed Hinata complete control over chakra, and that combined with her variant of the gentle fist allowed Hinata to kill with barely any effort. Hinata could cause someone's brain to shoot out the back of their skull with just a simply tap on the forehead, or to liquefy their organs with a palm thrust. To the bandits, Hinata was like an angel of death. She and her movements were beautiful, but everything she touched died. You lot are most unfortunate. You're dealing with a goddess when she wasn't in the best of moods. Though I am not without mercy and will grant you all a quick death, said Hinata using her divine voice, something she rarely used. She charged forward, intent on finishing off this group. With Yugao was making quick work of the bandits with her sword, which was covered in purple flames. These flames were the flames of hell, which she could use at will thanks to her mother. While not as hot as Amaterasu flames, the flames of hell were special in the sense that not only did they burn whatever the user wanted them to burn, but if you were burned with these flames, were automatically sent to hell. It didn't matter if you were the purest person on the planet, as soon as these flames touched you, your soul was damned. It was because of this that Naruto and Yami made sure to train their daughter to be a master of these flames, so that she would accidentally burn someone that had no right being in hell. Once Yugao was done with her group of bandits, she went to check on how everyone else was doing. With Mito was breathing heavy, but not from exhaustion. The stress from the multiple lives she had taken was getting to her. Breathe, Mito, you'll get through this, said Kurama from within her head. Over the month, Mito and Kurama have been working on their relationship. Mito wasn't sure that they were friends as of yet, but they were at least friendly with each other, and he did help with her training. She could honestly say that she learned a lot from Kurama, as he taught her a few fire jutsu and a few wind jutsu. Right, thanks Kurama, thought Mito before using a kunai to kill another bandit. With Shino was shaking as he had just killed a bandit with a kunai. No matter how much logic he put behind his action, he had still killed someone. His bugs continued to protect him while he was temporarily frozen, but there was only so much they could do, as without Shino actively guiding them, they weren't as organized as they usually were, and thus some of the bandits made it through the bugs and were about to kill Shino. It was then that they suddenly stopped and just stood there, caught in a genjutsu. Then Kurenai appeared behind them and slit their throats with a kunai. Kurenai's eyes were at first hard, but when they landed on her frozen student, they softened and she slowly approached him. Recognizing Kurenai, Shino's bugs allowed her to get past them without a problem. Placing her hand on his shoulder, she got Shino's attention and smiled softly at him. You did well, Shino. Just breathe and you'll get through this, said Kurenai. With Kiba was completely frozen in place as he stared at his blood-covered hand. He had just killed a bandit by using his claws to slit his throat, but now he couldn't stop staring at his bloody hand. Akamaru tried his best to protect Kiba, but there was just too many bandits. It was lucky for them that Anko jumped in and summoned some very large snakes that started eating the bandits. Checking on Kiba, Anko found that while he and Akamaru had no injuries, but Akamaru was exhausted and Kiba was unresponsive. Part of Anko wanted to bring the kid to his senses with a good smack to the face, but she held herself back. Another part of Anko was laughing its ass off as the big bad alpha male was acting like a scared little bitch about to piss himself after his first kill. In the end, Anko gently shook Kiba out of his stupor. Just calm down, kid. It's hard for everyone their first time, said Anko. Before Kiba could say anything in return, Naruto walked up to them. Naruto, what are you doing here? Asked Anko. Sorry, Anko-sensei, but I'm just an Earth clone. Boss is up there, said the Earth clone, pointing into the air where they saw Naruto floating high up in the air, and from what Anko could see, he was going through a long series of hand seals. Boss made me and a few others in order to inform everyone that they need to get as far away as possible, said the Earth clone. What the hell is he doing? Asked Anko. Something very destructive, said the Earth clone before it crumbled into dirt. Anko quickly grabbed Kiba and ran off to meet up with the others with Akamaru following. With Naruto. In the air, Naruto had finished going through the hand seals necessary for the jutsu he was about to use. Okay, so the hand seals weren't really necessary for him, but they were necessary for his plan. You see, while Naruto loved spending time with his daughter, he was tired of Minato pretty much spying on Mito, so he decided to get everyone's attention on him. That way, while everyone was watching him, Mito had the chance to grow as strong as she wanted without anyone bothering her, like Danzo and his damn root ninja. A ball of fire about the size of a baseball formed in Naruto's right hand. Raising his hand into the air, the fireball became more like a small sun. This scared the shit out of everyone on the ground except for Hinata and Yugao. Their father had taken them into a pocket dimension to train them and had shown them some of his more destructive attacks. It's over, Calamity style, Supernova, said Naruto as he threw the huge fireball onto the bandit camp. The fireball destroyed everything it touched and left nothing but ash and a large crater. Despite all of this destruction caused by Naruto's jutsu, the scary thing was that Naruto could make it stronger if he wanted to. He could actually make it as big as the sun. With the others, everyone stared at the destruction Naruto had caused, and out of all of them, Kiba was the one that passed out with a brown stain on the back of his pants. Holy fucking shit, said Anko. Did you know he could do that? Asked Kurenai. I had no idea he could do that, but anyway, let's go find my student, said Anko. What about Kiba? Asked Kurenai. One of us will have to carry him, said Anko. But he shit his pants, said Mito. Tough, it's our job to do some sick shit, and sometimes that includes touching shit, said Anko. I feel I should remind you, Anko-sensei, that Kiba is a pervert and therefore the women shouldn't carry him since there is a chance he'll wake up and try to grope them, said Hinata. You're right, Hinata, that leaves us with one option, said Kurenai as they all looked at Shino. Quote. Damn it, said Shino with a sigh as he reluctantly picked up Kiba. With that done, they all made their way to the crater to find Naruto. When they got there, they found Naruto down in the middle of the crater. They slowly worked their way down to Naruto and found him breathing hard with his hands on his knees. It appeared like he had winded himself using too much chakra. Hinata, Mito, and Yugao silently praised Naruto for his acting skills. Are you alright, Naruto? Asked Anko. Yeah, I'm fine. That just took more chakra than I was expecting, said Naruto. Well, I'm glad you're alright, but maybe now you can tell me where the hell that jutsu came from, asked Anko. Oh, that, well, you see, it's actually a jutsu I've been working on for a while, but I've never tested it out until a few moments ago. I call it Calamity style, Supernova, said Naruto. And why would you use an untested jutsu in the middle of a battle? Asked Anko. I was really angry. Kiba's perverted actions towards all of you ladies really got under my skin, and then the bandits wouldn't stop talking about the things they were going to do to the women in our ground once they had killed me. I just lost it and used my jutsu, said Naruto. I see. We'll talk more about this later, but for now I believe it's safe to say that this mission is complete. We'll set up camp for the night and then head home in the morning, said Anko. Later, the two teams had found an undamaged area to set up camp for the night. Mito, after being comforted by Naruto and Anko, went to sleep in Naruto's tent as she didn't feel like being alone. Kiba and Shino were sleeping in their own tents, and Hinata was sleeping in her own tent with water clones watching over her just in case Kiba tried to sneak into her tent in the middle of the night. Anko and Kurenai were deciding who would take first watch until Naruto walked up to them. Excuse me, Kurenai-sensei, I was wondering if it would be okay for me to ask you a favor, asked Naruto. It depends on what the favor is, Naruto-kun, said Kurenai. Kurenai was comfortable using the kun suffix with Naruto because over the months she has spoken with him quite often, mostly about his books, but they have also gotten to know each other. She found him to be quite the gentleman. Well, as you know, I'm currently in the process of writing my fourth book and I'm at the point where I want to introduce a new character. I was wondering if you'd be okay with me basing this new character off of you? Asked Naruto. Kurenai's eyes became huge and shined with joy as she thought about a character based on her being in her favorite book. Of course you can base your new character off of me, said a very happy Kurenai. That's great. Would you mind looking over the basic information I have on the character and giving me your thoughts on it? Asked Naruto. I'd love to, said Kurenai as Naruto unsealed a notebook and gave it into her. As she read over the information of the character, she was falling more and more in love with it, the mysterious personality, the sad but relatable backstory, and the skill set the character had made her really impatient for the book to come out. When she got to what the character would look like, she noticed that there were a few differences. Well, Naruto-kun, I must say that I love what I've read so far, but what's with the differences in appearance? Asked Kurenai. Well, you know that there is in my books, and I didn't want to offend you if you read the book and saw a character that looked like you doing things you wouldn't do, said Naruto. I appreciate your concern, Naruto-kun, and you're right, as I wouldn't want others to read it and assume things of me. That being said, I wouldn't mind if she looked a bit more like me, said Kunai. What would you suggest? Asked Naruto. Her bust needs to be bigger, she needs to be a little taller, her hair needs to be longer but it can stay blue, her eyes can stay golden yellow, and her waist needs to be a bit more narrow, said Kurenai. Very well, I shall make the necessary changes, said Naruto. Hey Naruto-kun, I'm your sensei. How come I don't get to be a character in your book? Asked Anko with a whine. Well, you don't like my books, so I didn't think you would want to be in one, said Naruto. This was a lie, as he was already working on a character for her, he just wanted her to admit that she liked his books. Meanwhile, up in the trees, Yugao just shook her head with a smile on her face at her father's antics. The next day, Team 8, Team 11, and Yugao were standing in the Hokage's office giving their report on their completed mission. Needless to say, Minato was shocked when they told him about Naruto's jutsu. And that's all there is to say, Hokage-sama, said Anko. Before Minato could say anything, and poof of smoke was on his desk, and once it cleared, everyone saw a small pug with a Konoha headband on its head and tied around its neck was a scroll. Knowing that the pug was one of Kakashi's summons, Minato quickly took the scroll and started to read. Anko, Kurenai, I know that both of your teams just got back from a mission, but it seems that the mission I gave to Kakashi and his team turned out to be more difficult than anyone was expecting, and now they need backup. Are either of your teams up for another mission so soon? Asked Minato. I'm afraid that my team needs a break, Hokage-sama, said Kurenai after looking at her team, mostly Kiba and Shino. My team is ready to go, Hokage-sama, said Anko. Very well, Team 11, you are to head to Wave Country to provide backup to Team 7. Kakashi is apparently temporarily incapacitated, so once you get there you'll take charge, Anko. Dismissed, said Minato. With that out said, Team 11 went to the gate and Team 8 went on their way home. Yugao was about to retake her post in the office before Minato stopped her. Yugao, I'll be needing you for the council meeting I'm about to start. If what you all said about Naruto's jutsu is true, then everyone needs to know about it, said Minato. Yes, Hokage-sama, said Yugao. On the inside she was smirking as Minato was playing right into her father's hands.